Hey everyone, it's Esther here. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. I just got home from work. I'm exhausted, guys. Just had a really long week, a lot going on, working a lot of hours and learning a new industry. It's taken its toll on me a little bit, but I love my new job and I'm very thankful that this opportunity came to me. But wanted to make sure I filmed today because today is a very special day for me. So today is my anniversary of when I stopped eating sugar. I decided exactly 1 year ago today that I wanted to cut sugar out completely from my diet. So at that time, I decided to cut out white table sugar completely, and even like brown sugar too. I stopped eating it completely. I'm so happy that I made it to a year. I didn't think I could do it, honestly, because I was so addicted to sugar and just had the biggest sweet tooth out of anyone that I knew. I looked back at the blog post that I wrote, and I can link it down below for you guys if you want to read it. Just to kind of see where I was at that point. At the time, I was already eating a high protein diet. So Monday through Friday, I was extremely regimented with my diet. All of my coworkers used to say, wow, you're so amazing. I don't know anyone as regimented as you. And I was just super strict Monday through Friday. And I felt pretty good. But every weekend I would have one cheat day, sometimes two cheat days. That's kind of where the problem was. The whole cheat day idea, it's really popular in the fitness world. And it's one that I pretty much lived by because my whole view back then was I wanted to keep my sanity. I wanted to still be able to enjoy the foods that I loved. So by staying strict Monday through Friday and having that cheat day, it allowed me to eat all the sugary sweets, all the cakes, cupcakes, chocolates, heavy carbs, all of those things. Those foods were delicious and I really enjoyed them, but the problem was I felt so miserable every weekend. I remember almost every weekend I would sleep away almost the entire weekend. All of my friends, they were out doing these amazing things, enjoying the beach all day, going surfing, going fishing, and every once in a while I would partake in those activities. But most of the time my mind was on food, on what I was going to eat that weekend. And literally from the time that I woke up till the time I went to bed, my whole weekend was revolving on what I was eating. 9 times out of 10, I would sleep in on Sunday and wake up around 1 or 2. I would indulge in all of these sweets, whatever I could get my hands on. Pizza, fried chicken wings, anything imaginable that was bad for me, I would try to stuff it into my body. And because of that, I was sleeping more and more. So even though I would sleep in until 1 or 2 in the afternoon sometimes, I still wanted more sleep. I would put myself in such a food coma that I absolutely could not stay awake. So at the end of the day, I knew that I wasn't making the healthiest choices for my body. I knew that this was not a great way to live and that I should be enjoying my weekend instead of centering the whole weekend around food and around sleep. I knew I had to make a change, and I knew my addiction to sugar was really impacting my life in a negative way. So because of that, I decided I'm just gonna give it up completely. So that's what I did. It was the best decision I've ever made. And honestly, it's turned into so much more than just cutting out sugar. So I wanted to kind of talk you through what's happened since that day a year ago that I decided to stop eating white sugar. So it started off as me just cutting out all of the things that I knew had table sugar in them. And I'm gonna be really honest, I did make mistakes. There were instances where I ate food because I thought they didn't have sugar in them, where in fact they did. So it's been a huge learning process along the way, because I've gotten a really good grasp on what foods may have hidden sugars in them and what don't. And honestly, it's stuff that I've heard before, but until you put things into practice, you just tend to forget. Sometimes I'll go out to a restaurant and that particular dish that I'm getting, it'll have a sauce on it. And I'll even read the ingredients. I'll ask the waitress sometimes, or waiter, if this particular sauce has sugar in it. And sometimes, honestly, they don't even know. They think that it doesn't, but it does. So you really have to be careful. One thing I've developed is a good sense of taste for sugar now. For example, if I order a salad and it comes with a salad dressing, I can dip my fork in there, have a little taste, and oftentimes now I know if it has sugar in it or not, because my taste buds have become so much more sensitive to sweetness. Cutting out sugar, it made me feel really, really amazing. It gave me a new level of energy that I hadn't felt before, and I feel like it was a very positive change. You know, having said that, as time went on, even though I felt really amazing, I knew that I still wasn't feeling 100%. I've been struggling with chronic fatigue for a long time. Things that I've changed over the years in my diet have really made an impact. Before I started cutting out table sugar, I played around with my macros a lot. I went to school for dietetics, so I studied under dietitians, and my bachelor's is in dietetics. And when I went to school, they really promoted the high carb, low fat diet. I was probably one of the biggest champions of the high carb, low fat diet, because that was the education that I received, and that's what I was taught was the way to go. Back then, when I was on a high carb diet, I had so many crashes during the day. I was experiencing unusual amount of fatigue that I knew wasn't right. And it was frustrating because I thought I was doing everything right. I was doing exactly what I was told to do. After I got out of college and into the professional world, and even though I didn't go the route of being a dietitian, I still had an interest in nutrition. And so I continue to read up on different ideas. A lot of research was coming out against glutinous products and against wheat products. And eventually that led me to lowering my carb intake and upping my protein. I was into lifting as well, and a high protein diet is really championed in the fitness world. So I took that approach, and I saw definitely some better results with my energy levels, but like I said, it still wasn't where it needed to be. It was definitely improving, and I could definitely see those improvements, but I knew it could be better. When I cut out sugar, my energy levels went up way higher than they ever had been, but again, they weren't 100%. Like, I never felt 100%. Through all of this, I had been exposed to the ketogenic diet. I just kind of here and there would read about it. And I had a photo shoot that I was doing coming up, and, you know, hearing about the ketogenic diet, I thought, why don't I go on this to kind of prep for this photo shoot, just so I could look a little more cut. I'm not a big fan of dropping huge amounts of weight or anything like that, or doing anything unhealthy. But I thought, you know, the ketogenic diet, I read a little bit about it. It seemed pretty healthy in a way to kind of like make myself look more cut a little more quickly. So that's what I did. I went into the ketogenic diet, and I went into the diet thinking that I was just going to do it for, maybe 3, 4, or 5 weeks, really short amount of time. I went on it the first couple weeks. I felt pretty miserable, but from what I read, that was normal. It's called the Keto Flu, and it's the way that your body can kind of react when you're switching from burning carbs to burning ketones. So I did experience that. And for those of you that don't know what a ketogenic diet is, let me just kind of back up a little bit. With a ketogenic diet, what you're doing is you're changing your macro ratio, where you're eating about 75 to 80% of your calories from fat. Around 15% of your calories comes from protein, and just about 5% of your calories come from carbs. So I was going from a high protein, moderate carb, low fat diet to high fat, moderate protein, extremely low carb diet. So like I was saying, the first couple weeks of the ketogenic diet, I was just such a different person. I had really low energy. I lost a lot of my strength, and I lost a lot of water too. So I remember having some brain fog. I would be in the middle of a task at work, and I would completely forget what I was doing or why I went into a room. I remember being at the gym and not being able to lift the amount of weights that I was used to lifting. And I just remember being so tired those first couple of weeks. Then I got to maybe around week 3 or 4. Oh my God, complete change. I remember just having so much energy, I didn't even know what to do with myself. I was waking up at 4:45, 5:30 in the morning, every single morning without an alarm. Those that know me, they know that's just unheard of for me. It just doesn't happen. Once I felt this incredible amount of energy, I didn't want to get off the ketogenic diet. The ketogenic diet, it's changed my life. Dealing with chronic fatigue, dealing with that feeling of always being tired every day and not knowing why, because you think you're doing everything right and you do everything that you're told. It can be so frustrating. It really just goes to show that you can't just automatically believe everything that you're told. This is especially true in the world of nutrition. So at the end of the day, I think you really have to look at all of the research that's provided. Read different sites, read articles, books, and studies about a high carb diet, a low carb diet, a high protein diet, a high fat diet, veganism, vegetarianism. Read all of those studies, make an educated decision on what's going to work well for your body. And if it doesn't, then make a change. No matter who says you're doing things right, if you're not feeling well, then something's probably off. So I think the best experiment you can do and the best study that you can do is to really keep track of your own diet, make adjustments as necessary, see how that works, and just be willing to make changes as you go along. Fitness is a journey. If you're looking for a quick fix, you're gonna set yourself up for failure. You've got to be in it for the long haul. My journey over this past year, it ended up being so life-changing. So I went from cutting out sugar all the way into transitioning to ketogenic diet. I have more energy than I ever could have hoped for. I never thought I would get over my chronic fatigue. I thought something was just maybe genetically or medically wrong with me that I just couldn't figure out. Little did I know that the very diet that I was so against and that went against everything I was ever taught was the fix for all of my problems. I'm just so happy that I made that first decision to cut out sugar to begin with. It's the best decision I ever made. And now I'm continuing to learn new things to improve my health to a level that I never thought I could. I feel better now than I did in my teens and in my 20s. I'm 32 now, and I hope to continue this trend and just continue down this path to achieving optimal health and optimal happiness. I hope you guys enjoyed my story. I'll definitely be sharing more on my channel. I'm still learning a lot about the ketogenic diet. I'm by no means an expert. I just want to share my story with you and share my results, and hopefully you guys will learn something from it. I think cutting out sugar will benefit anyone. It's one of those things that you just don't need in your diet, period. So if you're thinking about cutting it out, I say just go for it. But I hope this video has been helpful to you. Hopefully it can provide some type of inspiration. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, comment below, and make sure you subscribe, because I am going to be sharing much more of my ketogenic diet. But thank you guys so much for watching. Happy anniversary to me. And I will talk to you guys next time. Bye, everyone.